Hey, what's up guys? It's Dave for the Sound Shop. Just tuning in here to YouTube, ain't been on in a while. Figured I'd share a really cool, tip, trick, whatever you want to call it. I get a lot of people messaging me, asking me about the LED lights that we use here on our builds. Anybody can do LED lights, totally normal. You're used a lot of different ways in builds, but it seems like one of the things that kind of gets overlooked as far as the how-to side of it. The other thing is a lot of people think to get into programmable LEDs you have to be able to know how to do programming, and you got to use the crazy software to be able to do it. So I thought I'd take a minute and show you guys some ways that you can get around that. There's a couple different types of LEDs out there that are programmable. You can use, honestly, pretty much any of them on Amazon, eBay, wherever. Your LED light distributor guy, Metro sells them, I think Pack sells them too, don't hold me to it. Anyways, the point of the story is you can get a bunch of different ones. Nonetheless, so I'm gonna start out by showing you kind of the ones that we use here, and I'll actually add pictures so you can find them online or whatever. This is the one that I use the most often. This is a WAS2811. You'll see that it's got 3 pins, 3 wires, whatever you want to call it. So it's literally power, ground, and data. There's a couple versions of this. The 2811. What's going to be different about it is 12 volts. So there are 5 volt ones out there, so pay attention to that when you're purchasing. They offer a WS2812, which actually has more LEDs per inch. If you look at this, this is 1 LED per inch. So you'll see that it's not a bunch of LEDs in that sense. So if you're doing a small project that needs a lot of light, then I would say do the 2812s and do a 5 volt to 12 volt converter. Also available online anywhere. None of this stuff is stupid expensive. You can add it to a customer's project that you're building, personal project, whatever. You would range anywhere from about 60 bucks to 100 with a controller, with the whole deal. So it's totally affordable and it completely changes your game so you're not doing just single color. Anyways, so this guy here, like I said, it's got those. You can get this in variants depending on how many LEDs you want. When you get online and look, you'll be able to see some different options. Just pay attention to what you're buying. There's also, you're going to see IS certifications. I don't remember the exact numbers, but IP certifications. What that means is it's waterproof or not waterproof, and how waterproof it is. Meaning, is it fully submergible? Like you could use it on a boat, on the bottom of the boat, and it would go under the water for a certain period of time. On the sides and stuff like that. Anyways, there's different versions of it. So this is one. This is the most common that I use. Like I said, it's got the spaced out every inch, and it's 3 simple wires. So you'll see here, it comes pre-wired. It's already got an end. They come in 15-foot rolls, 5 meters, whatever you want to call it. These extra 2 wires, which a lot of people are confused about as well, that is power and ground. However, they are soldered into these power and grounds here. So the purpose of these is when you get into really long runs. For instance, we did a bar for a friend of ours that had like 3.5 rolls per bar underneath it, and then another roll above it. What you can do is one controller for all of those so that they are a continuous flow, one end to the other. So it's going to start at one end and go all the way to the end. And that's considered the line, if you will. But every 15 feet, you need to reintroduce a power source, because what you're going to see happen is it's going to have a voltage drop, which that creates its own set of issues. So like first thing you'll see is, like, let's say you had 2 15-foot rolls. The beginning of the second 15-foot roll, you're going to see it's dimmer. If you added a third one after that, the third one would probably just barely come on, and the lights would be doing some flickering and all this kind of crap. The point of the story is you only need one controller, unless you want multiples, and you can then separate them and have each one do something different. But if you're trying to have it all as one big continuous thing, or let's say you're using 2 rolls that are side by side and split off the signal at the beginning, you can do that as well. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to have endless amount. You just need to reintroduce power and ground. It's as simple as that. If you're talking about doing stuff in a house, then you just need a separate power converter for each one of these that plugs in the wall, like the laptop style power converters. And that goes from 110 to obviously 12 volts. In a car, you just need a standard one. It comes in a roll just like all your other LED lights do. There's a bunch of different manufacturers out there. Quite honestly, most of the stuff is about the same, unless you're buying the absolute cheapest. But if you just pay attention to what you're buying, it's all made in China. So when you cut this guy on, these are called Dream or Flow LEDs or whatever. There's a bunch of different names for them. Like I said, it's a WS2811S. nonetheless, jump online, you'll see all that. The first controller I'm showing you here is a super simple controller. You'll see, you can see in the background it's moving there. You can adjust it. It's on demo mode, so it's doing a bunch of different stuff here. I'm gonna roll it out a little bit so you can see it better. And I'll include some pictures of builds as we're going through here. We just finished up an Audi and a Charger that we did some really cool ones with. So it goes through automatically auto mode like what you're seeing here. It comes with a remote. The really cool part of it is the fact that it's a simple install. So if you're dealing with tight spaces like we often do in cars, this is an amazing option. That's all it is. As you can tell, that's about a ½ inch wide, maybe an inch long on the board. Power and ground come in here, output here, ready to plug and play. You can cut and solder it, sidebar here. You can cut and solder at any one of these joints, and that's gonna vary. The higher end ones are literally gonna be every inch you can cut it, and there'll be about 3 LEDs per inch. A little overkill for most car builds, unless you're doing something really small. If you got something small and you wanna avoid any dead spots at all, then sure, you can do that. But nonetheless, that's it. That's the basic one. It's an RF controller, so honestly, you can be anywhere about 10 foot, 15 foot around it, and you can hit it. So I'm going to show you here. You can change modes. It's got built-in different modes in it, like 300 to be exact. You can slow them down really slow, speed them up really fast. I mean, the sky's the limit. Just depends on what you want. And there's different modes. You can go to single colors on that side of it, and then when you go back, if you hit the auto in the middle, it's going to go back into auto mode. The cool thing about auto mode is it literally goes through all 300 types. So some people like that, some don't. Me personally, you see it does all this crazy stuff. Usually I just go to the first 1 to 7 of them, which is a full color change like that. But if you flow through all of them, there are a bunch. It stacks. It does the whole like Knight Rider type thing. You see I mean, there's a bunch of different options. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit so you can see better. But it flows. You can do whatever you want with it. Generally, I wrap continuous around things. But that's one type of controller. The next type is the same kind you guys see by a lot of different manufacturers. Nonetheless, it takes power and ground. Then it's got 4 wires coming out the side. This module will work with a bunch of different ones. So it works with basically with your phone. It's Bluetooth only. You pull up on your phone and you're gonna pair to it. You can go into the settings and you can change it so it'll work with any of the LED type strips. You can control how long they are by controlling the pixel number. It's the one you see where you can scroll with your thumb and it's got a color wheel on it. That's an option. Next option, this one's kind of cool. We did one of these in that bar we did. We've done a few of these in cars. But what's cool about this is, and they sell this by a bunch of different manufacturers. Once more, it's all over the Amazon. But what this guy has is it's got a mic built in. So if you're doing something that doesn't have a crap ton of bass, it is an option to just use the built-in mic. If you're doing something with a lot of bass and this is near the bass, then it has an input and an output on here and a volume control for it. So you can actually input via aux off of an RCA, and then it's got its control modes that are based off of the music here. It's got regular modes, all the same modes that you're seeing with this other controller, plus more. So it's got about 10 different ones you can do with it. It also has the cool controller, so you can adjust things, the speed and all that, whatnot with it. It's got the standard color wheel on it as well. Pretty cool option. Nonetheless, that's pretty much it. You can take that and make whatever you want with it. Sorry for the super long video.